Admiral Harold was sitting by the table looking out to the view, a small solar system with only 2 planets and a gas giant. The other delegates would arrive soon, the Duskins, who had been the first to approach them to help solve the mystery of who was attacking the human colonies and kidnapping the whole population. The truth had been more horrible than anybody could have imagined. A species called the Kanisu was selling human meat to the Galactic Society. Humankind was not prepared for this. Several species considered eating sentient and intelligent beings as completely normal. They apparently felt that sentient and intelligent beings cared for their health better and produced better meat. Their meat factories made the human farm factories of cattle and such look like 5-star hotels. These aliens had perfected keeping the victims alive as they cut off pieces that they wanted to sell. He had seen the menus, and it had made him sick to the stomach. Humanity had spent a year after they discovered this to collect allies, the 5 most common prey for the galactic community. That was 10 years ago. Most of them were experts in stealth but did not have the power to fight back. That's where humanity came in. As he sat lost in thought, the ambassadors entered and found their seats. The Duskins reminded him of green-skinned dwarves with tiny horned skulls. Hell, most human had nicknames for the other species depending on what they looked like the Sancher or the merfolk as they were called. An aquatic species that looked like a human with fish scales and deep black eyes, the Navors or red elves, athletic and beautiful with pointy ears and reddish skin. They looked like humans with 4 fingers, and then there was the Venusa, the baby Cthulhu. The blue-skinned alien was the timidest as their meat was apparently the most tender. That was until the monsters had discovered humanity. Thank you all for coming. When we first started this alliance, we promised that we would provide you with a safe place to hide from those who hunt us. All we asked for was help to improve our technology. They all looked at him, and he knew they trusted humanity. They had saved many from the hunters, yet it had not always been victories, and humanity had lost around 1 billion on Earth to these monsters. Your people have already proven yourself trustworthy in your raids against the Galactic Republic. Your people have brought us hope that we can live free one day. Ambassador Jussu for the Duskins was the first to support him. They had become their best allies and were fully committed to the cause. Well, you have all contributed much to us as well. From the Duskin, we have improved our stealth capability to such a degree that we can move without a trace around the galaxy. The Sancher has greatly increased our energy output and ship reaction ability. We are now able to maneuver while at light speed and no longer have to travel in a straight lane. It makes it impossible to calculate trajectory when those 2 wonderful technologies are combined, making pursuit impossible for our enemy. Both ambassadors seemed quite pleased with the praise, and Harold continued. And Navor medical advancement has aided us all in healing the terrible damage the hunters have left on those we have rescued. And to top it all, their biosphere technology has made it possible to terraform any barren rock in the universe. Because of them, we have thousands of small hidden colonies spread around the galaxy. We all are in your debt for that gift. The Ani, the beautiful ambassador of the Navor, blushed slightly. You are such a charmer. I wonder what you are going to ask for next? The other ambassadors found her comment humorous and looked at Harold, then at the last ambassador, who was trying to look smaller than his form. He was always the shy one. Well, this time we are not really asking for anything. But that's for later, because how can any of us forget the Venusa? Nano factory droids. Once we cracked that code and combined it with everything you have given us. And your weapons, I hope? Ambassador Jussu added with a smile. Yes, and with our weaponry we made a few things. First, we made something for all of our protection. Harold stood up and walked over to the large window showing the waste space. As he did, he sent a signal. We took inspiration from a few movies we have. One was a movie called Star Wars, where they had a moon-sized station. As he spoke, 8 metal moons the size of Mars popped out of light speed and went into an orbital path around the gas giant. The ambassadors all looked in shock at something so big, having a light speed capability. Harold grinned. Now, the second inspiration was actually from a monster movie. In that movie, they play around with the concept of a hollow Earth. These are not warships, though we have armed them pretty well. They are well-armed colony ships capable of housing 3 billion comfortably in a biosphere, and we are gifting each of your species 2 of these. As he spoke, a hologram of these moons appeared to show the schematics. The center had a miniature sun with an internal world. With an area set aside for farming, the whole base had 144 million square kilometers of living area. The outside has several cloaked military bases as well, and we have spread about 50,000 heavy laser cannons and another 50,000 rail cannons and 50,000 missile silos. Apparently, our engineers really liked that number. But that's not the best part. He grinned and spoke to a communicator, and all the bases vanished from view. They can cloak and jump into light speed while cloaked. So, at any attack, you merely need to cloak and jump away. The range before recharging is 55 light-years. If you drain from the sun, you can squeeze out about 70 light-years. We recommend a few short jumps and only drain the sun as a last effort. They looked at him in shock and awe. It was Ambassador the Ani who first managed to speak. If these are your gifts, then what are you asking for us? And where are your weapons? Harold grinned. Our base is not a colony but a purely military base. It's a solar destroyer, and we have some more ships. We took inspiration from another show for these beauties. He spoke into the communication device. Send in the battle stars. 35 ships dropped out of lightspeed and flew in formation with the ease of a fighter. These ships were about 5 kilometers long and looked bulky. It looked like a battering ram with 2 flight hangar pods. Harold seemed very proud when he looked at them. We packed our most lethal weapons in these little bastards. The hull is strong enough to fly through the sun, so hunters will learn to fear them. We had one fly through a small moon. They are great at ramming things, ships, space stations, and planets. They are meant to be the new landing assault ships, but we don't have enough crew. While these suckers will drop into the atmosphere or ram space stations to drop off our Marines, they still need protection from good old-fashioned battleships. And we are running short on manpower. They looked at him. You want us to join the fight? Yes, we need you to join the fight. We know your aversion to go head-to-head against them, except for the Duskin, of course, so we are not asking for ground forces. We need crew personnel for the ships. Karnt, the Venusa ambassador, surprised everybody by speaking up. What if some of our men wanted to join your fighting force? They all looked at him and, to herald confusion, they all agreed with Ambassador Karnt. Of course, any who qualifies as a soldier will also be allowed. But all our military branches have strict rules for qualification to be allowed on the battlefield. I am aware of that. I do not think our physics or fighting ability will be a problem. We are, after all, a Death World species like the rest of you. Death World? What does that actually mean? Harold had heard the world being used. Apparently Death World meat tasted better. Humanity had never investigated that term too closely, just accepted it as a derogatory term for people they like to eat. It's a world where the wildlife or nature itself would kill you with little effort. Most of the so-called Galactic Republic come from parody worlds. They never had to deal with predators from the start. They viewed everything that wasn't them as food. And they grew to dominate the galaxy. For every one of us there are thousands of them. Unlike them, we all had to fight to become at the top of the food chain. We are not weak or timid. We just knew that to fight a stronger predator we had to hide or move out of the way. That was until you guys came along and decided to fight back. Now that you offer us a place to hide our weak and secure survival, we can join the fight. Those, what did you call them? It's based on a Death Star design, and it's hard to get them to use the correct name of Hollow Moon Stations. Or HMS, so pick your choice. Death Stars or HMS? Death Star has a nice ring to it, and if one of them can be used to devastating effect, then that might scare them to leave the others alone when spotted. Can that be arranged? Harold grinned. We have plans. But as I said, we need personnel.